Hello and welcome to the Growing Green Landscapes Podcast with Jeremiah Jennings. While still in his early 20s, Jeremiah already runs a successful six-figure lawn maintenance company. Listen in as he and his guests share the things that have brought them success that can help you in your business. As a young entrepreneur in the green industry, Jeremiah emphasizes the tips and tricks involved in running a lawn maintenance business while discussing the principles applying to all small businesses. If you're wanting to grow, become profitable and professional, you're in the right place. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode today here on the Growing Green Podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings, and we are very excited to be coming to you today with another guest interview. And this is a returning guest to the show for, I think, the third time now, and it is none other than the host of the Green Industry Podcast, Paul Jamison, or oh my goodness, I ruined that, or trying to think. What is
we better start over.
Oh, we're starting over. Oh no, we're starting over. Or what is or otherwise? I was trying to think of the word otherwise.
Also known as.
There we go. Also, that's good. All right, here we go. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode today here on the Growing Green Podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings, and thank you again for tuning in. I've already said that once, but it means a lot to us. It means a lot that you're listening and tuning into the show today and helping the show grow and reach a bigger community. So we are very excited to be coming to you with another guest interview, and he is a returning guest to the show for, I think, the third time now, and actually he's a host of his own show, the Green Industry Podcast, Paul Jamison, otherwise known as Billy Ratliff. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be back, Jeremiah. I appreciate your friendship, man.
Man, I'm all about it. I love it. I love when we get to chat on the phone. It doesn't get to happen too often. We're both busy people, but when we do, I always leave feeling rejuvenated and refreshed because we just talk a lot of business stuff, but then we also get to talk some life stuff and just hang out and have a good time. I mean, there's nothing like being able to hop on the phone for 20 or 30 minutes and hang out and just cut up and talk about golfing at the country clubs with saunas and all the stuff that goes into that. And if you're listening to this live, you probably haven't heard our episode yet, but just wait. Stay tuned to the Green Industry Podcast. That show will be coming, and it will be one that is totally value-packed. I mean, it's going to be value-packed like none other before. So it's just really excited and thankful for you, Paul, and our friendship. But I don't want to hold you very long. I know we got dinner right around the corner. I held you up already today. So what I do want to talk about, though, is we talked about this a little bit earlier in our discussion off air, and this is something that I've seen a lot of this year is people that I've known in my business that friends in our community, other landscape companies, that they're not doing the way they should. And it's one of the biggest things I think we talk about, and it's raising your prices. And people talk about it all the time. I know people get annoyed hearing it. Probably they're like, I don't want to hear about this topic anymore. How many times can you talk about it? I don't think you can talk about it enough. That's how big of a deal I think it is. And especially as the business owner, you need to be implementing this in your business, in your company, the right way immediately, every single season. So I know you always advertise your price increase letter a lot. And you actually told me before, and I didn't really know this, you kind of have a good story behind your price increase letter and how all that got started and how it kind of really transformed your business and your life. I mean, overall, it transformed your life because you wouldn't be where you are today without that thing.
Yeah, so saved my business for sure. So years ago,
Tell us all about it.
I was out mowing and I put too much oil in my mower and it cut off. It stopped working. So I was like, man, what is going on? Is a Toro Time Master. And so anyway, I couldn't get it to work. And my friend Rich was stopping by my customer's house because he had just put beautiful landscape lighting in, and he just needed to kind of adjust the accent lighting a little bit. So he just randomly happened to be on the same property. It was my customer, but also his customer. And he could see I'm having a really bad day, Jeremiah. I'm like, my mower ain't working. I can't figure it out. And, Rich is a handyman. He's like, let me take a look at it. And I was telling him to put oil in it. And lo and behold, I just put too much oil in it. So we dumped some oil out, then cranked right back up. And I was just having a bad day. And I'm just venting. I'm just talking to him a little bit. And he's very discerning. And he could just pick up some clues that he realized I was stressed out about money. It's what it came down to. You know what I mean?
That's obvious. It's hard when money is controlling your life because you have so little of it and you're not good at managing it. It really shows, and that's something you can't hide forever. So I am interested to see how he can tell and how it helps you here.
So this guy is very successful. He's worked in at Brightview before. It was actually
Oh wow, yeah.
Valley Crest and Brickman, joined forces. So he actually worked for a company called Brickman. Newer guys wouldn't know that company because they merged into Brightview, which is the largest company in our business. So he's got experience working for them. He's built a business, sold it, and he's also worked for another one of the largest companies in Atlanta. And now he's back to owning his own business. Kids, like he's been in the industry for so long, and he has a ton of knowledge, and he's very wealthy and successful, and he's found his niche in lighting and irrigation. That's all he does, lighting and irrigation. Although he's done the lawn mowing, landscaping. He's been in all of that. He's just the riches are in the niches. He found his deal. So he's real smooth. He said, "Hey, Paul," he said, "My wife and I would love to have you over for steak dinner this weekend. Would you like to swing by and we can talk more? We talk shop and things like that." And I was just clueless. I was like, "Oh, sure." I'm just thinking, steak dinner or whatever. I didn't know where my life was about to change. So I was like, sure. So Sunday I worked at a radio station afterwards. I went over there and his wife made a delicious steak. I'll tell you what, that walk in and the house smells good with all the fixings she had and the steaks. Oh man, it's awesome. So we're sitting at the kitchen table. And no, here's the other thing. He's like, bring by your checking statements, your numbers. We'll go over your numbers. I'll help you out. You know what I mean? I was like, "Are you sure, man?" And I was like, "I don't think I can pay you." "Oh, no, I'll do it for free, man. I'll help you out. I got you." He's like, "Just bring me as much information as you can so I can see what's going on." Because he's used to these big companies. They have boardrooms. They have people at Jeremiah at these larger companies that don't even work in the field. They wear like a golf shirt to an air conditioning office all day, and they crunch numbers of how the landscaping companies performing. So he knows what they're looking at in those meetings where the higher finance people at these $billion companies are. He understands that, and I didn't know that part of the landscape business. So I print out my checking account for my business, and I also had a spreadsheet where thankfully I clocked in what time I got to each customer, what time I clocked out, and I had a own little individual sheet for each customer in a larger Google Doc spreadsheet, Google Sheets. So I would take, if I was there like 25 times so far that year, I would have an average of what I was, how many hours I was there. So I at least had all this information. So I come over, and as his wife's preparing dinner, he's looking over all my spreadsheets. He's looking over my checking accounts, and I'm expecting him to be like, "Yeah, you're crushing it, dude." Because I was working for some of the Atlanta Falcons players and coaches. And after a while, he's not saying nothing. He's got his calculator and his pen, his calculator, and he's just, he's going. So like he's diving into all this. And so Jeremiah, he puts his glasses on the tip of his nose, and he this is a true story. He puts his glasses on the tip of his nose and he just starts looking at me. And my heart starts racing all fast. And his wife like pauses, and it's like a movie, like time stop. And he said, "Paul, how are you paying your bills?" My heart sunk, and he's just staring at me. And I was like, "Things are really tight, Rich." And he's like, these numbers are horrible. This is absolutely horrible. He's like, "You're only making $35 per man hour on that property. You're only making $29 on that property. You're only making, 41 over here." He's like, "You need to be up at about 45, 50 just to tread water and hopefully get beyond that." And he's like, "You're not anywhere close." He's like, "I'm serious." He's like, "Are you paying your bills?" And and I was like, "Well, thankfully I got gas in the truck. I got food on the table, and I had a part-time job." And he's digging deeper into my business. And he's like, "Oh, I see where you're paying your bills. I was doing landscape installs, and I was actually making a profit on those jobs."
Yep.
But my lawn care division of my business, he's like, "Paul, you're paying these people to cut their grass, because once you break down the cost of your truck, your trailer, your power equipment, your fuel, your labor, all of that, you quickly get to $30, $35 just covering all that stuff, $40. You don't start getting into breaking even until you're even beyond that." And because I was underneath that, I was literally losing money. So he explained to me, he's like, "You realize you're paying these people to go mow their grass because you're buying all the stuff and you're basically doing it. You're not making any money, dude." And I'm sitting there like so embarrassed. And I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh. And so I was like, well, what do I do? And he was like, well, you got to raise your prices. And then I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, you got to tell your customer that you can't cut their grass anymore for
Yeah, pretty simple.
$205 a month.
Yeah.
And he's like, this property right here, it's $300 a month. He said, it's got to be $400 a month. And that's still not even great, but that's where you got to get. And I was like, there's no way. And so I was like, we just write him a letter. Just I'll help you or whatever. So we crafted a letter. I had a professional as well help me craft it, and then he helped me craft it. And we wrote the letter to, this is desperation trying to save my business, wrote a letter, and I send it actually in the neighborhood I work in. They have a mailbox underneath the mailbox that you can legally put in. It's called a birdie box. So I go out there literally the next week and I put my price increase letter in the mailbox. And I'm nervous as can be. It's $300. And I put, the new price is $400. It's all professional the way it's worded. And the lady's husband comes out, and next time I'm cutting the grass, and he's like, hey, we got your letter. And he's like, you want $400 now to cut our grass, huh? And I was like, yes, sir. As I explained in the letter, I need to absorb all my cob, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, all right, you're doing a pretty good job. And he was like, whatever. So I said, it's okay.
Yeah.
So I was
yeah.
like,
is that easy? Yeah.
Oh man, come on, somebody. Well, then, some of the other people is cool. And then I had old Martina, she left me. I had two of her, she's a real rich lady, two of her properties. And she's like, we're moving in another direction or things of that nature. So that was the first year. And then I realized, now I need to, we had like a 3-year plan to get me to like where I needed to be. So I was like, we're going to raise it this much this year, this much next year, this much next year. And then from there, you just kind of on autopilot. This was before the inflation stuff that we're going through now, but we were thinking we'll just 5% a year after that. Now this year you got to raise it more because we're So that was the time my price, that's how the price increase letter was actually born, Jeremiah. And it's been fine-tuned. Mr. Producer actually helped me craft it even more now. And I've been able to share that letter with other people. They're sending it out. Tons of people are having 100% success rates where all their customers, because if you don't butcher the original price as bad as I did, then just going up 10%, even 15%, especially this year, people understand that. And the letter communicates that. So it saved my business. Rich's friendship and him helping me understand my numbers opened my eyes. And then after that, I got connected with a guy named John Pajak. He spent hours with me figuring out my break-even cost. I went to University of Georgia. Well, actually, it's our county extension office, but professors from the University of Georgia do an 8-hour bidding and estimating class, and that opened up my eyes. Basically, we did the same thing Pajak did with me. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much it actually costs to run a business. And once I got all that figured out, I started getting my numbers better.
Yeah. So that's an awesome story. That is very informative, and it's also cool to just see where the price increase letter came from. And it's something that changed your business and ultimately changed your life. And I think that's how important everyone else needs to look at it, though. It can change your business and change your life. If you're not charging what you need to charge to cut grass or to do landscaping or do whatever you're doing, you got a problem. You're not going to last very long. Inflation will run you out of business, and it's just as simple as that. The numbers do not lie. Let's hit on another point here. You kind of you hit on it without hitting on it. You were so far behind, you had to do a price adjustment. You didn't just do a price increase, you did a price adjustment. And you adjusted your price from $300 to $400. That's an increase, but when I think increase, I think 7 to 10% increase. That's what I think. So talk to the guys about how you when do you think you need to go, when you need to do an adjustment, and when do you think you need to do an increase?
Okay, well, the companies that know their numbers, the Bright Views of the world, they do commercial landscape, but even the residential companies around here that really know their numbers in the Atlanta market, they're going to price the job accurately right out of the gate because they're going to already know their numbers.
Yeah.
From that point, it's just maintenance. Inflation on a normal year, not this year, could be 3 to 4%. So if you're raising the price 5% each year, you're continuing to stay above that. The chucks and the trucks out there, they start cutting Mrs. Wilson's yard for $35. And then the next year they're cutting her yard for $35. And the next year they're cutting it for $35. And then 5 years go by, they're cutting it for $35. Well, the stellar profitable companies, maybe they were $35 the first year, but then they were $38 the next year. Then they were $41, then they're $43. Now they're $45. So 5 years will go by, and Mrs. Wilson didn't even recognize it. Went from 35 to 45. It's just like with our junior bacon cheeseburger at Wendy's. When I was at your age, Jeremiah, it was 99 cents. Then it was $1.09 and $1.19, $1.29,
$3. Yeah.
I don't think it's $3, but it goes up. I hope it's not $3, but it goes up a little bit.
You went to Wendy's.
I went to Wendy's one time last month when I was in Florida. I got breakfast.
That's probably what got you sick.
Maybe, but anyway, I want to get to the answer of the question here. But
yeah,
those companies price it right out of the gate, and then it's just you can minimally raise the price going forward. In my situation, I was so below where I needed to be that I basically needed a fresh set of customers. And so it was emergency mode of marketing. Like, let's go hustle and market to get new customers and price them at the profitable price. Or my other solution was I'm going to have to just eliminate mowing and go hustle, because I know how to put in plants and trees and mulch and pine straw and flowers and landscape enhancement. So I could go heavy on that, which I was already doing good numbers on.
Yeah.
But mowing was destroying me because it was literally sucking my time, energy, and it was losing me money. It would have been better to not do it at all. And so that's why I had to make that big hike from 25%, from going from 300 to 400, because that's where I needed to just get myself back into contention. And go ahead.
No. All I was going to say there is, so the thing with the adjustment versus the increase, and the reason I think that's so important is why you do it at the beginning, is because you don't want to have to adjust. If you have to adjust, the chances of losing customers are, I feel like, 50 times higher. I mean,
and I lost a ton of them.
Exactly.
I lost some because they're like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah,
when you have to adjust from $50 to $75 or $80, there's not going to be a lot of people that want to do that $80 increase, or that $30 increase. But when you start at $80 and then you say, hey, we got to go to 83 or 85, 90% of people say, yeah, let's do it. Sign me up. Let's go.
Even more than 90%. I'm getting feedback because guys are using this all over the country, all over the world, not just the country, all over the world. And I just got a guy, Jason Skiles, just emailed me. He's like, hey, 100%. And then another guy, ironically, his name's Jason out in Washington, Cease. He's 100%. Like, he's sending it out to everybody, and everybody accepted his new price. So
yeah,
I mean, if it's but there, and actually Jason was in between 10 and 20% and didn't lose one single customer.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, and that just shows you how important it is, though, because it shows you how much money you're missing out on if you don't do it.
Well, and what's important isn't necessarily the price increase letter bailed me out, but that's not what was important. What was important was it started me on a sobering path of figuring out know your numbers. And I'm not trying to take credit that I invented the phrase know your numbers, but before I started sharing on my podcast, I didn't hear no one say that. And I started saying, guys, we have to know our numbers, because it was birthed out of me not knowing my numbers and going on this journey of trying to figure it out. And now, thankfully, like you said, you opened up the show. You're like, guys are sick of hearing it. Guys are sick of hearing it. And I'm like, sweet. Amen. Like,
that's
I'm
right.
doing my job.
Yeah.
If something no one was talking about this, maybe Keith Kalfas a little bit, but folks weren't talking about this.
Yeah.
What's better? This mower or that
Still
mower.
or Echo or
And it's like, who cares if we ain't making money? Like, I can make money with a Steel and I can make money with an Echo. I can make money with a Skag and a Toro. I mean, they're all pretty good, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like, they all can make us money. It's really actually the argument just should be what dealer's closer, honestly, because you want to purchase the equipment that
and what kind of support do you have?
Service. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Even if I think this company is better than this company, but this company's near me, then I'm going to go with that company. But that's neither here nor there. But I love that now we're starting to figure out and when I'm putting myself in the Chuck in the truck category and the Rick's mowing and that is me.
Yeah.
I'm not a Brightview or whatever that has a CPA and a CFO, and they have all these people crunching numbers all day. But we have to get that element of our business in place if we're going to be profitable and have long-term success in this industry, and not just the price increase letter can't just bail us out like it did for me. We have to know our numbers so we don't price it too low anyway, and then just make it a rhythm and routine of our business to send that out before each season.
The thing you said there in the last second to last sentence you just said that is huge, that probably a lot of people didn't even catch. You didn't even catch it, didn't even go through your head, and you probably didn't even catch it when you said it. But it really is like, you need to stop and think about it for a minute. It's one word or two words. It's gonna take it, by implementing the price increase letter, it's gonna help your business in the long run. And long term, it's going to help your business. You can cut grass for $25 and survive a season or two. You can do it in the short term. It's doable. And the thing that is so mind blowing to me, and it's honestly just sad, is I still hear people talking about, hey, I can do these little garden homes for $25 or $30, and I can still go out and do them, and that's enough for me. And we can be the cheapest, and we'll just get all of them and do a bunch of them, do all of them for $28, and we'll be good to go. And the thing is, man, like seriously, we had that conversation the other day with somebody. I actually did have that conversation, and they were like, "Yeah, we can do it." That's
$28.
Oh yeah. We don't. Just young guy, a lot of work to do. He's a hustler. I'll give him that. He's a hustler. He wants to go out and work and provide, and he is working his tail off. But I'm like, man, just raise your rates a little bit, and when you start, like, he's still working part-time with a guy and wanting to get out on his own, or working full-time with a guy and starting his own on part-time to get out on his own, and I'm like, he's like, I can do this many for this much, and so on. I'm like, that's going to help you short-term, but it's not going to help you in the long term of a business. You're not going to grow successfully there. So if you don't, and it's hard to hear, yeah, you can't charge that. You can't charge $25 and make money. Sorry, but you can't. You just can't do it long term. So if you don't implement the price increase now, when are you going to do it? And if you don't, it's not going to help you down the road. I mean, it's going to help you down the road if you do it. If you don't do it, you're going to be in trouble down the road. But one more area or topic I want to kind of head in this conversation is I want to hear your input on this, because you talk cutting grass, cut that grass, make that cash, and knowing your numbers and stuff. So what are your thoughts? And this might coincide with doing more landscape enhancements. This is our discussion that we had on your show. Is you might need to start getting into that more, because here's my problem with raising rates. I say that in quotations. You need to be raising your rates. But let's say you raise your rates 5% every year for the next 10 years. So if I raise my rates 5% for the next 10 years every year, then if my yard that I'm doing for $50 now, it would end up at, what would that be, $60 in 10 years? Or no? I don't know, all that math. Maybe let's do
$50 and you're raising it by 5%. That's $2.50
times
over 10 years. Would be $25. So you're now going to be at $75 10 years from now at a 5% increase per year.
Okay, so 5% is a pretty good increase rate, don't you think? Between 3 to 5%.
Or this year's swirly, but before this year,
just market increase.
For example, we'll send out an email of, hey, we're raising this to this percent or whatever. And in the past, it was like 3-4%, 5% was like, oh man, sticking it to us this year. You know what I mean? And now I'm not picking on Site One, but I'm just saying they publicly share this stuff.
Yeah.
So, but now it's like 11%. It's like, oh my gosh, and so
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. That's why I'm doing this.
I got you.
So let's say go up 5% for the next 10 years. That's $25 over 10 years. So right now my garden homes are $50 for the most part. That's about what our minimum is. We might do a 45 if it takes us about 2 minutes. But $50 is about our minimum. So in 10 years, do you really think we're going to be at a point where a garden home is paying $75 to get their grass cut? Where I've heard this conversation talked about, and it's a tough one to hear for lawn maintenance companies, because here's the thing. I don't see a point where we're ever going to get to a point where there's a garden home that's paying $75 to get their grass cut. But if we're raising our rates these 5 to 6% over the next years, are we going to get to that point? So the reason I say this and play devil's advocate here is I think it's a reason to start getting into some other, expanding your services and getting into like landscape enhancements and other ways to generate income.
Yeah, I was talking to Troy Clogg on one of my tours. He's got snow and ice management company up in Michigan, and he has a lawn care business as well. I mean, he had over 400 trucks in his fleet.
Yeah,
throughout the years, like for real. I was like, why is that? Why does it say 371 on that truck? Well, that's the 371st truck we got. We just number they number them, yep. Like a school bus, and he was up to 400, and he's like, what's tough about this? He started in the 80s. He's like, a $30 cut in the 80s was still a $30 cut in the 90s. And
yeah,
it might be $35 cut now. And the problem is it's such a low entry that guys get in and they don't understand the cost of the trailer and the mower and the power equipment and the fuel has to be passed on to the customer. And so what they think, and I used to think like this, well, I'm making $15 an hour down at Tyson Chicken down the street, or I'm making $20 an hour down at Costco. And I just looked on YouTube yesterday, and the guy's like, I made $350 in one day. And I was like, okay, that was your revenue for today, but what was your cost of that mower you're pulling and that trailer and the mower and the power equipment? Like, you didn't really make $350 like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to deduct your expenses from there. If you're listening to me and you're like, that's my YouTube video, I got to be careful now, Jeremiah, because I took a picture of a raggedy truck yesterday.
I saw that.
Yeah, man. People follow me on Instagram around here. Like, bro, what are you doing? Making fun. Oh my gosh.
Wait, he actually messaged you? That guy followed you?
I got a message. Dude, people, like, there's people that live by me that follow me, man. So I can't pick on people anymore because like they follow me on Instagram. Oh man. So the guy's probably like, oh man, I made that video. But here's the thought. I was thinking, okay, man, I'm making my first yard I ever quoted. I didn't know anything about this. I quoted Maria $25. Okay. $25. Cause I was thinking I was making $8 or $9 at the dining hall for 1 hour. I was like, I can definitely get this done in 1 hour. If I'm humping, I mean, I'm just going for it. You know what I mean? I can get this done in 1 hour, make $25. Yeah. Like I thought that was winning. Yeah. Not realizing that was at that time, the rate per man hour in the industry was $45. I didn't know that, but I couldn't have even computed a charge of $45, which I should have, because I didn't understand all the costs related to this. Yeah. But let me bring this thing full circle. Rich told me that, back to the story with the price increase letter. He said, Paul, and at the time he was with the company that their revenue for the year was well over $10 million. It's actually closer to $20 million a year. And they do lawn mowing. But he says, Paul, you understand that we don't do, and he's not with this company anymore. He's back to owning his own company. He's like, you understand we only make a little bit of money on our lawn mowing, even though it brings in millions in revenue a year, but we make our money on the landscape enhancements. Yeah. The reason we do the lawn mowing is because then you're the front runner to get the landscape enhancements. They're going to ask whoever's mowing their grass. They're going to ask you if you, well, yeah. Let me preface like this. If you're intentional and you market and you do lawn maintenance, then you're going to pick up, it's going to be low hanging fruit to do the mulch, to do the pine straw, to do the seasonal flowers, to do the irrigation work, if a tree falls over, to clean up the tree, to plant a new tree, to plant the plants. All of that work is where the money's at. Yeah. So he said, Paul, he's like, this was a secret. And I'm telling you guys openly and publicly, he's like, we do the mowing so that we can put ourselves in front of them so we can market to all these other. Yeah. And let's say, I'm just throwing out numbers. I don't want to give this company's business, but let's say they do $3 million a year in mowing. They only make a little bit of money off that 3 million, but they do 10 plus million in the enhancements at a higher profit margin. And they probably make 3 to 4 million on that. Yeah. And it's easier to market to get those jobs by doing the lawn mowing. So anyway, most of my audience, is into lawn mowing. And I'm just saying, if you're going to do lawn mowing, we have to have the right prices. Yeah. Which you have to know your rate per man hour. And then you really want to consider upselling and cross-selling whatever landscape enhancements that you have, the education and the equipment and that actually be competent. You don't want to be screwing up.
Yeah.
You're just playing at a $300 Japanese maple. You need to know how deep to dig the hole and how to do it. I've seen some raggedy work around that.
Yeah.
But you need to know what you're doing, but that's where the money's at. And so to bring it all full circle, you need to know your numbers and charge the right price out of the gate. And then you want to raise your prices annually. So for the mulch, if you were doing $95 per yard last year, the next year do $100 per yard installed or 110. It should always be going up. And then with your maintenance, I learned this from my buddy Matt LaMarche. You want to train your customers that you're going to raise your prices every year. So I did this. So they knew, how much you're raising it this year, Jamison. They knew their price is going to be raised. So you want to get in a rhythm and a routine every year, right around this time, or even before you can do it, raise the rates, raise their prices, and they'll just know next year you're cutting their grass for $50 this year, Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Next year it's going to be 53 or 54, maybe even 55.
Yeah.
And you just train them, and then the next year they're going to expect that.
And I know this is a tough question, but I really want to hear your thoughts on this. And this is what we'll wrap it up with. We don't have to go much longer, but I want to hear. And it might not be what people want to hear, but I want to know. And I don't know. It's going to be hard to predict this. We're not going to know where we're going to be in 10 years. But in 10 years, do you really see us cutting a garden home for $75? I'm talking about this as a lawn maintenance company, so I'm having to think about these things.
Yeah, it just depends with inflation and how all that works. Because my grandpa Jeremiah, when he got his first job, he was making 25 cents an hour.
Yeah.
At the movie theater,
mm-hmm.
He'd work a whole night of 4, 5, 6 hours and make $1.50. It's $1.50. And so,
I guess that is true if you look at it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So with inflation, the way it's going in this historic rate, I don't know, but if you are going to do lawn mowing, I'm trying to put a shock factor to this because I know my audience, and it's probably similar to your audience. Most guys are just mow edge, trim below, mow edge, trim below, mow edge, trim below. If you're going to do that, you have to make sure you understand what it costs to pull that trailer, to have that truck, to have your insurances, to have fuel, to have the power equipment. All of that stuff costs us money. And then the biggest expense of them all is the labor. And all of that needs to be recouped in our pricing.
Yeah.
And charging $28 or,
doesn't cut it. Just doesn't cut it.
Not cutting this. And so I had you on my show and you said you're charging $75 per man hour is the goal. If you're not hitting that goal, if you calculate, okay, let's just say you're working solo and the yard takes you 1 hour, you need to be charging $75 for that yard. And guys, you don't understand my market, Paul. You can't, that's a $45 cut. That's $45. You can't 75.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you're going to be going to the Green Industry Podcast Resource Center in a few years, getting a coaching call at me because you're broke.
Yeah.
And I'll help you. I help people, all the time, Jeremiah, but the math is the math. And so
numbers don't lie. That's the thing. Numbers don't lie.
They tell a story, and the story in most lawn mowing companies are they're not making money. Now, the lawn mowing division at this larger company that's doing millions in revenue, they are making a little profit on the mowing. It's not much, but they are as efficient as a whistle, man. These people are every single thing with the way they have the truck set up, with the way they market and route density, like you couldn't imagine. And even with all of that, they're still barely making money. So I'm not trying to scare someone away from this. I'm just trying to say you have to really know your numbers and charge more. And the reason why we have these low prices is because the market, there's so many people that charge a low price. It just creates this low market. And then there's guys out there like you and me, they're trying to provide for a family and do things right and save for retirement. Most people don't even know who Charles Schwab is. They're just trying to get a little money to buy the next bag of Doritos at Quick Trip. But as self-employment, as being self-employed, we have to save for our own retirement. We don't have some 401k at the job.
Did you get that Roth set up the right way?
Hey,
hey, everybody's got to have a retirement plan. And I'll be the first one to tell you, hey, Roth IRA as a business owner is a good way to do it. That's what we do. We have other options. So if anybody's out there, I'm not a financial coach by any means, but You can go look at a lot of high class people that will tell you Roth IRA is a good way to go. So anyway, moral of the story of today's show is raise your prices, do them effectively. Send out the price increase letter from thegreenindustrypodcast.com.
Yeah, head on over to the Green Industry Podcast Resource Center at thegreenindustrypodcast.com. Get the price increase letter because I'm about to raise the price on it. So the price is going to go up. But I'll for your listeners, Jeremiah, I'll keep the price where it is now, just because it will help you. And then once you get that, then you can use it for the rest of your career. That thing's been fine-tuned so many times to where it's tight, it's crisp, and it really communicates the message, and it will help you to get a higher price on your existing customers. And then on your new customers, quote them so you're making the hourly man-hour rate that you need to be making. Whether that's $65 or 70 or 75, run the math. You need to be making that per hour.
Absolutely. I love it. This has been a really, really good episode. I think it's very timely because we're starting the year. There's some people that haven't even started mowing yet. So there's still time to get those price increase letters sent out. Head over to thegreenindustrypodcast.com, get them there, and they will really help you grow your business. Also, what is it? Green Industry Podcast with Paul Jamison on YouTube, right?
Yeah, man. We got an audio podcast, and I'm just trying to get out there on the YouTube a little bit. So
excited to watch that thing grow. YouTube is a powerful machine, but it's tough to get started. From what I've heard other people do, and I've dabbled in it very minimally, but it's a really powerful machine. It's a really good resource for people. Go check out the Green Industry Podcast there, and I know our show will be on there too.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get that edited and put out there on the YouTube channel. But for real, check out the Green Industry Podcast Resource Center at greenindustrypodcast.com. And there's definitely the price increase letter there and some other tools to help you build a professional, profitable, successful business.
That's good stuff. I appreciate it, man. Paul, you have a good evening. Thank you, everybody else, for listening and tuning in today. If you would you leave us a rating and review down below? And whether you're an Apple or Spotify now, you can do it on there as well. And those ratings really help social proof us and will help boost us to a bigger community out there so we can continue to grow the community one relationship at a time. Thank you all for tuning into the episode today, and we look forward to catching up with y'all here on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green Landscapes Podcast. We know you have many other podcast options to choose from, and don't take it for granted that you chose to spend some time with us today. You can connect with Jeremiah Jennings at Growing Green Landscapes on Instagram or use the link in the show description. Don't forget to smash the follow button on the podcast and leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. We hope you crush it in your business and hope to catch you on our next episode.